Update re-boyfriend saying, if she's old enough to bleed she's old enough to breed. Not sure if I'm doing this right. This was the original. I think I just needed some extra support to do what I think I'd needed to do for months, so it's over. I did it over text while I was dog-sitting at my folks' place and he was away at his parents' a few hours drive south. Which is maybe cowardly, but I did it in person last time round and he talked me round, which I didn't want a repeat of. He was actually super angry with me, which I didn't expect, calling me a stupid BH etc. And then very upset and begging for another chance LMAO. Just so strange. He showed up at my parents' house and I regret letting him in because he did scare me a little, and wouldn't stop crying and refused to leave. But I kept thinking back to all the times I cried because of his behavior and he'd accuse me of being manipulative, and I think he was crying to be manipulative in that moment. I told him exactly why it was over. There were other issues I hadn't gone into in the first post, but he could be kind of sexually coercive and I have PTSD from past situations which he didn't seem to care about. Plus some issues with his female friends. And the general misogyny and horrible things he'd say, of course. Anyway, it's done. I've weirdly not even been upset. I actually feel like a huge weight's been lifted. I've had to block him as of since had emails, texts, calls, Reddit messages and all sorts from him. But hopefully he calms down and gets on with his own shit life soon. TLDR, thanks for the tough love. Dumped him. Immediately feel better and less stressed out not walking on eggshells around him and feeling pressured to sleep with him. This is literally what narcissism looks like. Low empathy. High sense of entitlement. Never look back. Ever. Not as friends. Not as anything. Congrats. You dodged a bullet. Also you deserve much better. He needs to he castrated lol. You got 328 comments from your first post mailbox from the Reddit Wiss ones telling you to do what you needed to do. Update. You succeed. Well done. Congrats on cutting off the dead weight. UX sounds extremely toxic. I would say it seems he's a psychopath. I would suggest to block all contact with him. Also, if you feel intimated by him, this is all the more reason not to see him ever again. You being intimated by him shows that your relationship wasn't a healthy one at all. My 26F husband, 27M, checks out of parenting whenever he's mad at me. Too long did not read. My husband of 4 years is always checking out of parenting when he's mad at me no matter why we fight, and I barely realized it yesterday. This weekend my family had a Halloween party and my husband picked up a Saturday shift. We have 4 kids. B, 8F, from his previous relationship. C, 6F, from my previous relationship. J, 2F, H, 1M. The party didn't start until 4:30, and very last minute we decided on a costume for H that would include some hand embroidery on my part. I fully admit I got absorbed in this mini project, and as a result didn't get myself or the kids ready by the time my husband was home at 1:30, and my husband was upset, irritated, and I understood why, but we were still early at this point for the party and I apologized. There was still some laundry that had part of his costume and most of my clothes in it, and while waiting for it to dry I stopped my husband from getting the kids dressed because I wanted as little time as possible for them to potentially get dirty. As soon as I said not to get the costumes on the kids because I wanted to get myself ready and let the clothes dry, he threw his hands up and said that if I was going to constantly pick apart how he gets the kids ready he wouldn't do anything. And he didn't. I got them dressed, I did their hair, packed the diaper bag, moved our car up, switched car seats from car 1 to car 2, and loaded the juice and pumpkins we bought for the party into the car. FYI, we left at the time we said we would leave. We weren't late. I didn't get ready. I barely got to shower before I threw my hair up in the same bun I wear everyday, no makeup and just jeans and a top. I was so upset. I'm realizing that he does this every time he's mad at me. About our kids or not. He sulks in his room or around and ignores me while playing our kids but not actually doing anything to help. It makes me feel so alone and I think he's doing it as a punishment. I tried to tell him how much it hurts my feelings, but today he says he doesn't have anything left in the tank, so he is ignoring me but texting me what he wants to say. He said all he was looking forward to was the Halloween party and that I ruined it and made him miserable, so today he has nothing left. I want to think of a way to explain my feelings to him that doesn't immediately make him defensive. You can only tell someone they're doing something wrong so many times before they just quit trying altogether. I think your husband is at that point. Would it have been the end of the world if your kids got their costumes a bit dirty? Get counseling. It's not your job to make him hear or value what you are saying. Get a counselor to do that work. It seems like he's trying here, but when it's not the way you want or plan, you aren't happy, so he just checks out. Pretty soon he's not going to even try. You need to put yourself in his shoes. You can't bicker over a few minutes, and who cares if kids get a bit of dirt on their costumes? It's Halloween. Costumes are meant to be enjoyed and played in. Life is short. He was trying to help. So next time, maybe when you get the urge to control everything and he's trying to help, let him. Men want to help. Even if it doesn't follow your specific plan. I'm 27, pregnant, and my boyfriend, 30, doesn't want kids. What to do? My boyfriend of 4 years has his life planned since he was 20. Stuff like own a house at 27, marry at 32 and stuff like that, and one of those are no kids until 40, which I knew about since the start of the relationship. I thought it was not a big deal. But now that I'm pregnant, 7 weeks, I became afraid. I don't know how to tell him or how is he going to react, and I afraid if he find out he's going break up with me. I don't want to raise our baby alone, and my boyfriend is the breadwinner, so I don't know what to do. I tested the water 2 days ago by asking him if we could try for a baby, and his answer was that he would consider in 6 years, but now impossible, and he would be a spouse before a father. I can't talk to my parents. I know they would tell me to have an abortion just to keep my boyfriend because he's perfect, and I can't get better. Nor I can talk to my friends. They will say I should leave him and raise my baby alone. I don't know who to ask, and I'm anxious. Should I tell him? If yes, how? Note: I'm not having abortion no matter what, and I am on pill, and he wears condoms most of the time. You just need to tell him that you're pregnant. But expect to have to be a single mom, but hope that he adjusts his timeline and steps up. Went through the same kind of situation. I didn't want kids until my career was going and I was making enough money because my wife wanted to be a stay-at-home mom after we had a child, which I fully supported. She was on the pill and I used condoms every time. We were being really safe. She got pregnant. She told me and was scared to death I was gonna leave her. I just hugged her and said we'd make it work no matter what. So just tell him. Be honest and just walk up and say you're pregnant. Reddit likes to be all doom and gloom, but if he's such a great guy, he'll understand and make it work. If not, dodged a bullet. Do you want the baby? That's what matters. As a bride, would you want people you do not know, have never met at your wedding? My family is paying for the entirety of our wedding. Our budget is not a lot, around $4,000. We have a choice to spend the allotted amount on the wedding or spend some on the wedding and use the rest for a honeymoon. My fiancé and I have decided on the latter. Initially, we had almost 200 people on our list. Since I have removed many of my own invites from the list and have asked my fiancé to please remove the majority of his coworkers from the list because in total they were taking up 20+ spots, so that's an entire table, chairs, and plates for each person. That's too much. 2. I do not know these people at all. I have met maybe 2 or 3 of the 20+ coworkers he has invited. He does not hang out with these people outside of work. We, as a couple, do not hang around any of these people. I have not been introduced to these people. Would you, as a bride, want that many people at your wedding that you don't know? My fiancé knows and has met every person that I have chosen to invite. I would understand if it was family, but these people are irrelevant. He has removed a few, but the amount to me is still too much, and I am not looking forward to spending my family's money on these strangers whenever that money could go towards the honeymoon. What do you guys think? Edit. Getting a lot of great feedback. Thank you for your input. I see now that this is really an issue with our budget and that probably people from my list and his list need to be cut, not just the coworkers that I don't know. If they were extremely important to him, I let him know I understood, but that 20+ coworkers seemed like a lot. We will definitely be reviewing our guest list together, trimming it, and trying again. If all else fails, we'll be hitting the courthouse. Cold sweat smile. Thanks again. Edit again. A lot of thoughtful comments. The initial title does not even fit into what the issue is really about, which is our limited budget. Cutting the unknown coworkers was to me a way to save more money, but the overall consensus is that our budget doesn't cover half of what the average US wedding costs. We were only rushing it because my family wants us to hurry, and probably why they offered to pay. I don't need to let my family use money or guilt to speed up my wedding or interfere in my relationship. We may need to marry when we can afford to do it ourselves. How are you planning to feed and entertain that many people with less than $4K? You should be planning a small intimate event. Definitely no more than 40, including the wedding party. Wow. $4,000 for 200 guests plus honeymoon is totally unrealistic. Are you having a dry wedding with just canapés? No music? No wedding cake? No flowers? What about the photographer? You need to cut down that list by a lot. Like half or more. You not knowing them is irrelevant. They're his county workers and possibly important to his career. You have 200 guests to whittle down for $4,000? You either need to cut it down to like 30 people or cough up some money. $4,000 won't get you anywhere.